Hello everyone, we're going to talk about the Runaway today, just making sure my stuff's playing properly. We are okay. We're going to talk about where I think she's good in the game, which skills I think are actually good, which ones get increasingly better, obviously with a mastery point. So I haven't had a lot of time to actually talk about the Runaway, so let's just do that right now. I think she's pretty good. I know some people don't like her, and I'm willing to bet some people don't like her solely because some of her abilities are, well, not some, but I think one of her better skills is Smokescreen. And then obviously she's got kind of like the Plague Doctor-esque setup with Firefly, Searing Strike, and Backdraft. Where is it? Dragonfly. There we go. Firefly, Dragonfly, and Searing Strike. There we go. Those are her big moves. You got Ransack, and that's actually kind of the ones I like. We'll talk about that later here. So she's a frontliner, which is kind of the only bummer. She works well 1 through 3 like almost everyone else in this game does, hence she's not extremely strong in 4th position. She could Firefly in 4th position, but she can't cauterize, can't use Smokescreen, could run and hide, pretty much useless though. Fire starter, but not really going to be hitting anyone unless you do the Firefly. Hearthlight, I mean, it's not bad. We'll talk about it once we get there. Backdraft, can't use that, can't use Ransack. So what I'm saying is, I think you use 3 or 4 of her skills if she's 4th position, so you really don't want to put her in 4th position unless you plan on just doing the, I forget what that thing's called, but then you plan on comboing that, because you do target for 5, and then you can do another 3. Actually wouldn't be terrible, however, once the enemy gets to position 1, you obviously can't hit them, so not the strongest 4th, but definitely a solid 1 through 3. Probably best in positions 2 and 3. I mean, you could stay in 1st position, but all of her abilities aren't like reliant. So I'd keep her around 2, just in case you move her back or whatever. You can then still use most of her abilities, and some of her stuff will move her forward as well, which is really nice. I like the aesthetic. Her backstory's not bad either. Obviously, I've done all the shrines on her, so pretty much let's get to her abilities. As a character overall, I think you should be fine if you have her in a party. If you're struggling to use her in a party, I'm going to talk about how I use her and have had success. It might run contradictory to how you do it. But let's just go through all 11 skills real quick and what they do, and maybe I can pick out like my top 5 to 7 favorite. Searing Strike, basic ability, just smack them, does a little bit of burn. So slightly stronger raw damage, Noxious Blast, and in the front row. Firefly, kind of like plague grenades, but obviously only one individual. Once again, slightly better in base damage, but not by much actually. Smokescreen is one of my favorites. Obviously blind, then we upgrade it. You get the blind, the vulnerability, and the other thing. I forget what it's called right now. Run and hide, literally backs you up 1, heals you, and backs you up 1 later. Hearthlight would be pretty good. We'll talk about that. Removes all stealth. It's actually really good in the Sluice. Ransack is just a simple pull, and it pulls and it moves you forward, which isn't bad from getting 3 to 2 or 3 to however you need to do it, depending on your combos. Cauterize, probably second best healing skill in the game in my opinion, even though it has the bleed condition. A lot of things bleed you, and it can get up to 33% of your HP, which is really nice. Then we have Controlled Burn. This one's a little confusing at first. It's a think of Wolf's bombs where he chucks it at a rank, and that's where it stays. And it just continually burns there. I forget how long it is. The maxed out's 3 damage per turn. I don't think it's that good unless someone gets a lot of turns, because I think it only burns them each time they want to go. Dragonfly, once again, it's kind of like a weird point blank DOT backblast. It wouldn't be terrible to actually do that. Sorry, I'm getting ideas. You could double that in a row for what, 8 burn? That's not bad actually. Maybe I should consider doing that one day. Just back 8. Yeah, okay, something to think about. Fire starter. So I believe this is only 1 hit, but you get to use it twice. Not very good in my opinion. We'll talk about it. Then Backdraft. So deals 50% of the remaining fire damage to the monsters. I don't know. So deals 50% of remaining fire damage on monster in front as damage to target. So I'm not sure if that's all of them or just a little bit, but it's kind of weird. It might have its use somewhere if you've stacked like 12 and you want to go do like, 9 damage to someone in the back row, but I don't know. It's kind of weird. Alright, now let's talk about viability and upgrading. I think Searing Strike's easily one of her better abilities. It does some decent damage actually. You can get 10 crits on it. does 3 DOT to that person, and then if you like combine this with a point blank, you can point blank Searing Strike upgraded. Not only do you get that probably person near close to dead because of the point blank, you also then start working on someone else. This is also very useful in the final boss fight. Once again, you point blank hit, and you can get about 6. You can get about like 12 to 15 damage in on some other stuff before you even start focusing them. Same thing with Fireflies, really great. If the point blank knocks them back, or the occultist, or anyone else who can add that, hit them for 5, spread it. You can do 8 DOT across the board, a little bit of damage on your own. Obviously, really good. I like Firefly a lot. These two are definitely always on. Smokescreen is one of my personal favorites, and the reason why I think it's a better blinding skill is it's 2 instances, which means you can actually use it 1 turn and then kind of forget about the next turn, which is really nice. Also adds a vulnerability, and also obviously sets her up for her own ability. So you can Smokescreen and then set yourself up with a Searing Strike. It's really nice. I actually prefer the Searing Strike Smokescreen combo. Run and Hide, it's like a... I mean, I guess if you're on death's door, I personally don't think it's very viable. Even that 3 HP heal, that is just gets you off death's door, but that's about it. I don't think it's very good. Hearthlight, once again, the sluice. Now, what is interesting is the actual upgrade to reduce blind. This could actually be phenomenal with the leper, and I may consider trying to run that one day, especially with the clocks at the end. So Hearthlight with leper could be especially good. Ransack's actually one of my more favorite skills because once again, it's a pool, which is really nice, so you can pull people forward. It's 4 to 8 is actually not bad damage, and once again, random adjacent monster can possibly receive 3 burn when you hit a target with the thing on. So she's obviously very reliant on that mechanic, and I tend to pick people who do that, so I can be spreading fire the whole time while still doing centralized damage. That's why I think the Runaway is very good. Now, if she didn't have all these adjacent target things and ability to set herself up, I think she should be a lot worse, but I think they did balance her pretty well. Cauterize easily has to be on. It's so much HP and gets rid of bleed, so if someone gets like 8 bleed, you heal them up. It's not an HP requirement, which is why it's one of the best heals in the game. You're like, oh, I don't have to be below 33%. Nah, who cares? You get a bleed at 50 out of 65 health, boop, pop it back up to 65. Cauterize is friggin' amazing, especially with the cultists who can bleed you, and then you can heal them again. So you can get like a double heal into somebody pretty reliably. Real nice. Controlled burn, I think it's garbage. It's 3 damage per turn. And the only couple of things I think of that go multiple turns is the one immolator dude in the Burning City. And obviously I just said Burning City, so he has a high burn resist. Could be good on the clocks because I think it stays the whole fight. But I mean, 90 HP divided by 3 is 30 turns. At that point you're very dead. Now you could argue you could do like 15-20 damage in the back for you. I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of it. Dragonfly, like I said, this one's interesting. So obviously both targets in the front, and for 4 you could blast 8 damage. You get about 10 damage in. It would work if someone gets where this would be really good is the I'm forgetting like the Grove place, but the guys who do oh my gosh, I'm reading their name, but they're the basic swordsmen of the Grove area, the forest. They usually have 2 damage protection tokens on them, so actually double blast in the front row while doing 4 then 8. I mean, that actually wouldn't be terrible. You'd get rid of 4 block tokens and stack up 8. So that actually wouldn't be terrible to do a double tap like that. It's not probably the best strategy, but could be something. I would love to see that crit chance go to 10% because 5% chance is way too low, but whatever. Fire starter. I think it's pretty bad. Even if you were to pair it with something like Dragonfly, you'd get 7 and 7, right? You'd be like, oh, that's really good. That's 14. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you did it in the boss fight, you fire starter. The only problem is you get such a limited amount of turns that you really don't want to take 1 turn to only do 3. You know what I mean? Because when you have an ability like this where you can add additional 3 somewhere else, I don't know. I really just think you just want to start going to town. And I don't know which skill I'd pick Fire Starter for. So that's my thoughts on that. And then we get the Backdraft. This skill is a little confusing at first. The only reason why I don't think it's that fun is, so let me explain it. Requires monster in front row to be on fire, right? Ignores block tokens, who cares? Target, which means we'll pick 3 to 4, deals 50% of remaining fire damage on the monster in front as damage to the target. Then you get to 75%. There's a better skill than this out there on the Plague Doctor, I believe, who does 100% damage of remaining. I think it's Bleed, Blight, and Fire. I think that's what it was. I want to say that's the Plague Doctor. So overall, Backdraft, I think it's pretty useless. I don't know why you would do that. I mean, I guess if you really need to hit the 4th position, but in all honesty, what my normal layout looks like. Let me get out of the mastery skill because I can't actually show you layout. Let me take off all the skills. Okay. Searing Strike and Firefly, always a definite. Smokescreen, always a definite. So that really leaves me with 8 skills. We just talked about these 2 being essentially useless. Dragonfly, as fun as it is, I don't think it's that good. So as you can see, we start destroying skills real quick. This has its moments in the sluice, so I would put that on as optional. Run and hide, no. So we just killed 4 skills. Controlled burn, it's just too little, 2 damage. Once again, you only get 5 turns, so really you gotta focus fire and make all your stuff into one area. So I don't really like controlled burn for that reason, because it's not really quick instant damage. 3 damage upgrade is rather a laugh in the face. So honestly, it's usually between Hearthlight and these skills right here. So that's my normal setup. As you can see, makes her strong for 2nd. 3rd, terrible 4th. I don't think she can use anything in the 4th. Just Firefly in the 4th. So if she gets to the 4th position, I'm really looking for someone else to fade back, or looking for her to hopefully get pushed forward somehow, or just move her forward manually. So those are my options. And just a additional tip here in the beginning, which I will say is, so if I had to pick one skill to upgrade in the beginning of the game, if you're gonna do the Runaway here, I really like Searing Strike, as I said, with the point and blank combo when you have the Highwayman, which he should be next, yeah, because it automatically does it at level 1. And what you could and the reason why I don't want to pick anything else that adds the skill is because obviously she can't do the stuff. So like Weakening Curse upgraded would be something I will do later, because obviously it guarantees that. I won't do Abyssal because she can't really hit the back row. And I think okay, so burning, but that takes some build up. Demon's Pool is also very good. I will do that later. So what I'm going to do is essentially give 1 option from the back row, and then I'm going to give 1 option in the very front row, because then she's just going to be utilizing pretty much Searing Strike the whole time. Ransack, I would never upgrade this one first. It's good to upgrade eventually because of that possibility. And I wouldn't do Smokescreen right away, on the sole fact that the Blind's the best mechanic. The Vulnerability and the other ability are more of a luxury. So I honestly almost always go Searing Strike. In the past, I have done Point Blank upgraded because it is 10 to 13. It's really good. It destroys that low end of damage. It only gives you 1 extra on the high end, but the low damage is 4, which is considerable. You can almost one-shot enemies pretty reliably. But because it can do decent damage, I do like to put on Searing. Increases the base damage, increases the crit chance, and allows me to spread 6 right away to 2 people, which is really good. So that's what I'll upgrade right here in my personal playthrough. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think. I know, like I said, I know some people are not a
if indeed it ever did.
Candles and chocolate. Now let me try it. Sorry. Let's just have our people like each other, huh? Yay, they like each other. I really want these 2 to like each other a lot. So if you want another base tip, wow, did they not lightweight? Yeah, there we go, 3, yeah. So if you can, the very beginning of the game, I would recommend you try to just focus 1 person, whether you have like cards or feasts or stuff like that. Really focus a person or 2, get a relationship right away. Helps you get through the first area a lot quicker. And try to pick people who will have a constant back and forth with each other. Like I like Plague Doctors, Man at Arms, they're really cool and stuff. Thank you for watching. Once again, let me know what you think. Subscribe and comment down below.